Good morning, you're welcome. Good morning, Anambra. Today, being Wednesday, this is the studios of Anambra Broadcasting Service. And you know, Wednesday, 9 a.m. just see what we're talking about. I want us to get no ring then it's on your light. Tata. Can I get see a video tab and I get what I open work with the gas in Akaka Quadichi, no Budai, Nigeria. Onya ini aga etinye ọnụ n'okwu nọkwa na studio n'ụtụtụ a mana anyị ga-agbatugodo obere dị maọbụ na anyị ya taa anyị ga-eme ka ịmalụ onya ini anọ tata apụkwana afa mbụ Chidimma Ọranwa.
Glad to be here this lovely Wednesday morning. Kaibidonu with Ikowalu onye anyị nọ na studio n'ụtụtụ a bụ Sir Jerry Obodo, who is a public affairs analyst. Sir Jerry, ụtụtụ ọma.
Ụtụtụ ọma nwanne m nwoke, ụtụtụ ọma nwanne m nwaanyị. Ndị Nigeria, ndị Anambra, ụtụtụ ọma nọ anyị nwere obi aṅụrị ịnabata unu ka anyị na unu nọlịa.
Ọ dị mma na atụfughị oge ọbụla anyị ga-ebido na ihe dị na ABS website n'ụtụtụ a. Nke mbụ bụ Soludo Science Local Government Administration State Economics Planning and Development Laws 2024. Soludo advocates structured collaboration among tiers of government. Anambra Assembly Speaker Udeze commends Soludo for signing Anambra State Local Government Administration Bill 2024 and others. I have to go here in ABS website so I said Jerry I have to know basakale here basal local government na Anambra State. When abuna governor Ibo Soludo ebinyega kana ho wesi na anya bo law into the House of Assembly. No the ezima no bo na emebie nya ebido mebie na oge nyela aka ifu na embonina na agbaka local government where the well structured the ma na oga amitanya basing bulo kedu ka isi wefu nya befe.
Well, etu nsufu ya bụ that na ọ bụ ife gbalụ mma o, you know, ịma na ị na-ewebata ife ọfụ especially ife anara emebu mbụ ọ na-afịaba arụ ndị mmadụ istobi ozugbo ma ịgbasue. So otegwe emedere local government election na Anambra State ọ karịgo ife dịka arụ ile. So ọ ga-abụzikwa ịdịkwa ka onye bidokwa nursery primary school wee na-amụkwanụ. So ama na onwe ndị a na-akpọ dissenting voices na-ekwu ebe ọ bụ na federal government and the Attorney General of the Federation ejego Supreme Court nweta autonomy. Autonomy is given, yes. Mana constitution nwere ebe o tinye na local government ọbụla na Nigeria 774 of them na House of Assembly nwere ikike ime iwu ga-enyelufe aka afa na-arụ ọrụ ọfụma. So onye wee ebe anwa ndị Anambra State House of Assembly ji wee nwee ike inebaga anya na iwu na-achị Anambra State local government mgbe ochie wee dusted it off, nwee ebe a ga-akpagasị aka ka ife wee gaa ọfụma. One of them bụ maka the argument of ndị mmadụ na-abụ na ego niile bịa from FAC, Federal Allocation Account, ga straight to the local government, yes. Na state was involved in the which is the area some people are getting it wrong. Even though that in the old order, even a Jack, joint allocation account committee of between the state and local government. But this one in the house, the intention, collaboration, like Daisy said. I got a for local government. Kafabuli Bunine, my equal Kuzu, equal the local government staff. Can they do health care, tertiary, secondary? So, Orika. So, on your before nature, can we a collabo? Non-detailable, also a collabo between the state and local government, where some percentage of money guarding a pool gabo, state with etinye, local government with etinye. Then it will be managed jointly by the mayor themselves and some representative of the state, like accountant general of the state, auditor general or whatever, constitute themselves to managing the fund. Now, Monday na retire. Monday pension, no. Monday gratuity, you know, like institutions I mentioned, guys. Then state are now losing care. Local government are now losing care. You know, like feeder roads for now. State are now looking for now, like what Soludo is doing. So that's the essence of that law. So, nde mada agatacharo, and you know, where you are bringing a disruptive administration or changes. On Ashabaro, the Jesus Christ, the Jews, Bah, Obogo Juvanya, you know, you'll be as I say, Menenka, Jesus Christ, name it to as a name it. So, also divide the chalk way, Chobe, you know. So now, if I mark I support what the signing of the law. I support the House of Assembly for that move. It was a well-intentioned law, and I support what today is saying. Thank you very much.
Click I got it to paper I went for review this morning. Paper is the review the tutu about the Daily Times, and the banner headline is saying UK, United Kingdom denies endorsing Igboho's petition on Yoruba nation. And that's what you can find on page 2. And then the mast there, NJC will not spare non-performing judges, CJN wants. PDP overcomes leadership crisis, lifts all suspensions. Empower Adina, Women Affairs Ministry raises funds to empower females. Disaster looms for patients as Kaduna health workers vow to continue strike. Page 14. Tax reforms, Federal Inland Revenue Service allays fears, says no introduction of new taxes. 20 IDPs in Edo camp graduate as doctors, lawyers, and nurses. And then you also find court bars EFCC from harassing ex-minister Baba Batagawa in disputed land matter. Quickly, Sir Jerry, UK denies endorsing Igboho's petition on Yoruba nation. Na internet, Sunday Igboho Nando to Haga na 10 Downing Street. He submit petition na actually kewapu from Nigeria. Na Ike Nigeria. Na achọrọzi nọlụzi na achọrọ inwezi their own country, which was on the internet. Kita UK is coming now to deny that we didn't endorse the petition of Sunday Igboho because onwe ka ha si kweta na ha may endorse ndị arewa nwere ike pụtakwu na-ekwu nke ha, Biafra pụtakwu na-ekwu nke ha. Gịnị ka ị nwere ikwu maka ya?
Well, even nwere ike ikwu na ya bụ na all is not well with you know a contraption called Nigeria, or this is not a country, not a nation, So, of course, you know that now, Obros also on the Yoruba nation now. The Biafra no na nkefane eku. Arewa group no na nkefane eku. Igbo na eku nke. But the thing is that now, often chabu na esoro ofu odo ahụ.
But for ndị Yoruba na-ekwu na ha chọrọ ikewapụ na Nigeria, ebe no nwanne ha bụ onye na-achịzi Nigeria, or means na ha nwere faith in nwanne ha na-achị.
Mba jiro ni Igbo agwụ onye ọcha na ife ọpụta. O gosi na ike agwụgwọ fa n'ife nwanne ha nwanne emekwu sef. So etu si ekwu ọ bụ ife adịrọ mma kpata eji enwe ife a na-akpọ dis nkewa agitation. Mana ife na-agbagojukwa m anya bụ na ọkwọzikwa the same ka ekewa onwe m ka eji wee nweta nwude Nnamdi Kanu ọnọrụfụ na DSS camp detention. Ọkwa the same the federal government is supposed to jidekwu this Igbo for going to the extent of going to Britain and afuya na-ese afuya. I suppose we no kita na-ekulu isi na detention camp the DSS just like Kanu. So often chabu na adro n'udo ahụ. Ịbịa ị na-ekwu justice, ị na-enye ndị justice, na-enye ndị injustice, So now one would have expected that man should have been, because of no secession for now. So, but that one apart, like I said, what it means is that they are passing vote of no confidence on the federal government and the president, even though no onye Yoruba ka obu self. Nwere onye no Nigeria na maro na eji eze ekpele. You don't pass suffering and smiling in Kefela, Tinegu. So where ebe kuteume of fuel, na inuoji, of naira to dollar, na inuoji, no refinery na Nigeria, very shameful, So is a vote of no confidence. And in fact, even if if an agofma, they could have just called for the confab of 2014. Confab of 2014. Onwe ingredients in the chandia. We ike douse tension na onya na emenke. But the Ndi has been very adamant in tackling the issues that will make Nigeria progressive. They are just there for selfish interest and selfish aggrandizement. Na achọ ife nke onwe farapụ ife ga-adịrị ndị obodo mma. Onye kpata eji achọ nkewa. And in fact, ịma na mgbe enwe regional government, ife na-agata ọfụma. Mgbe a ka enwelu, like Okpara, for instance, palm oil was exported and enwe ego. Well, universities, may even in a fan settlement and all that. Ndi Yoruba, well, no, Nankefa, name do also know a pyramid something, they are not. If you but now, in Chikocha, even in a teen center, unitary type of government, they say that a nozello cap in hand, now Bakuta Abuja, Keke, and it's not being baked by the state. The
Punch newspaper marketers plan of petrol imports to bridge shortfall. And yeah, but the big story there, I was the Dangote not producing enough to meet domestic demand currently. Dealers claim Ipman loads NMPCL PMS. Nambagotie Agane Nepayana Fukonyabo Ihenemena PDP as a political party. Damagon gets a reprieve, leads the Ondo campaign. Government hires SANs for Lagos Calabar Highway suit. federal government plans cash transfer for 20 million poor Nigerians. Fresh crisis hit rivers as pro-Fubara Wike lawmakers clash. High petrol price pushes inflation to 32.7%. And Cabo reports Egafo on page 33 of the Punch newspaper. Oyan Dam, anxiety grips Ogun community over fresh flooding. Naira among worst performing currencies. Okuas non on the World Bank Africa. I have to go ahead and I have a raw punch.
Okay.
Yeah. Abidogo Dunanke and the marketers Maka petrol. So when we will before when asked and I get less who had directly from Dangote refinery. Now, as it was the IMA meeting yesterday, yeah, and they now decided as soon as they are like Dangote they produce adequate enough for domestic use consumption. Yeah. So I'm promising EIG maybe this our marriage and your plan and it's in a conca and case in a cap and a cap.
Iverike.
Because you cannot
Iverike Mawa. Like I said, it's a shame that I can account for your battle, fuel availability, high prices and all that. You know, the federal government and its agencies, you know, some people use the word cabal, you know, are holding the country down. Why do I say so? About a rocket science that now, if you have, you know, many competitors, there's tendency that, you know, prices will come down. The regulation cannot be. But when you have an agency, or a wolf taker, let's say the marketers, you know, it makes no sense of the regulation, you know. So now, if you regulate here, you hands off. Tell the producer, produce when in large quantity. The marketers, when no gain Obasanjo, no this communication, the regulation. Bombo ngoro ine gotabu fuel, a phone. Ngoro ine gotabu steam card. We can dash it to somebody. Or because in Obasanjo deregulate the players better make competition or that. So if for instance, the four refineries are now roll optimally, you know, you discover that if there's a differentiation, now you go at very cheap rate. Then the marketers, whether major marketer or independent marketer, and everywhere. Even a modular refinery, does your former never license. You know, fuel are everywhere. Again, I call this na fuel or na more na price Erika. You know, it's just that no monopoly. Monopoly. One man can see Calotano refinery. All hands be on him. It may not satisfy like they mentioned. Yes. It's possible that the quantum of refinery Nigeria need may not come out in the refinery on your cabinet.
Okay, producer and not for Ghana of the country. But so Kemo and who's behind Agazi and I who's Makia every time.
Every time I don't know.
Yes.
What is happening that in a refinery, four of them are all corruption and the cabal. If they are working, this Dangote, like I said, if I just supposed to be a good fuel. It's not a request science. No, and the agencies and the government are, you know, benefiting.
Federal government transfer about 20 million naira to poor Nigerians. Now the question is, can they put the poor Nigerians? Can they hear what the criteria had and then malon the poor in this country? Because as far as I'm concerned, this country here was just the rich and the poor, and where who's that middle class?
Middle, yes.
So Keka has the malon the poor, and then how? The sharing formula, how is it going to go? That's another problem with this kind of we are largesse coming from the federal government?
Well, if I done in the federal government is if I'm going to station one day, cosmetic and artificial approach. This does not tackle the root problem of Nigeria. I can tell you for anything. One is that, like I know, no Genke Buhari. That was the means of siphoning whatever funds and the materials by humanitarian ministry, federal ministry that time, headed by one woman from the north. So it's possible they come up with fake names. Nebulega. We are tired of the federal government some time ago mooted the idea of as a cushioning effect to Insubuan on here. Nafagane less than the money rise for 40,000 naira. Have you seen the idea of the rise at 40?
You register with your name.
And the modern economic register go since we go here. Now they are now coming up with 20. This 20 or 20 billion.
That's not 20 million.
20 million Nigerians.
20 million Nigerians. When I was there,
okay, we multiply them the 20 million. If we go now. 20
million out of 133 million.
So it's also 20 million behind the poor.
In Nigeria.
Okay. Assume 20. Can they do if I were put out? I get Jumalem did the poor. Malem died checks and balances. At the end of the day, you discover that Nego Agabakwana can de Naburia. And like I said, no cosmetics.
Yes, just in Akawana, this kind of approach, where the effect of this hardship.
It is one. If a 3 gallon of Usobuni 9 on your fuel subsidy remover, and floating of the Naira. Let them go back, or if they say drawing board, let them go back as this person to go back to drawing board. Jukwa, only that economic thesis. Because even if we go na if I go pan off my since IGT. Ego my maka the windfall na putania. Efu ku ife abuna windfall puta. Abuna refineries ni na alwa wall now. Then empower industries for now to take off the graduates. Then the price of the fuel adakwa. Once price of fuel that is a spiral effect. Touch if you need the prices of food and even in Adaba. The problem is this major thing. In a kego. Only Lego tata, only China ta, Echinine, Kedebo is in Metacosa, so cosmetic and artificial cavaneme.
Let's go on now. Next papers I went to Yabu Vanguard na Daily Independent. Kai bidogodo with the Vanguard newspaper. Ukuru di na Vanguard neku Super Eagles Libyan horror show. Highest authority ordered diversion of flight. That's coming from the pilot. The riders there says, such unexpected diversion can compromise safety as NAS blasts seeks Libyan government apology. Senate calls for probe, seeks stiffer penalties for Libya. Reps asks federal government to summon Libyan ambassador to Nigeria. I'm still in shock, Egwavon. CAF officially puts Nigeria-Libya match on hold. Well, Nigeria foreign reserves rose to $39 billion in October. That's coming from the central bank boss, Cardoso. Says inflation remains a concern. State of the nation, Nigerians. How Nigerians can take back their country. That's coming from Pat Utomi. Inflation rate rises to 32.7%. PDP crisis, why governors nullify suspensions, order return to status quo. And then you can see flood Reps seek review of Lagdo Dam agreement between Nigeria and Cameroon. FOI Umahi engaged 6 sons to defend 1.5 trillion Lagos Calabar Highway budget suit. National grid collapses second time in 24 hours. And on the sports segment there you find page 30, Nigeria, Libya, Buhaha. NFF files protest to CAF. And that and much is what you have for the Vanguard newspaper. Quickly, let's see what we have now. The Daily Independent. PDP governors resolve NWC crisis, reunite feuding factions. Party demands removal of REC ahead of Ondo Guba poll. Now you have Super Eagles. NAS calls for diplomatic action against Libya. Customs extend deadline for private jet owners to regularize import duties. That you can find on page 7 of the Daily Independent. Why Kogi government approved 72,500 minimum wage by commissioner. Federal government has reached 4 million households under social intervention programs. Edu, well, 4 million, and I'm not included in that. Recurring grid collapse, national shame, says Obi. Keyamo directs foreign airlines to patronize Nigerian caterers on board for on-board meals. And we have our interventions have produced encouraging outcomes. That's okay. We have still on the mast of the Daily Independent. Increases in petrol, food prices push Nigeria's inflation to 32.7% in September. Oko Jumbo's Rivers Assembly insists Amawule 24 orders seats vacant. Asks INEC to conduct by-election to fill vacant seats. Sajeri, Ifugunian. Let's talk about here part Utomine regarding the inflation rate of Nigeria rise go to 32.7%, and then how Nigerians can take back their country. And when you now match that with just like Ihiku, Nogenagara, just not long ago, increases in petrol food prices push Nigeria's inflation to 32.7% in September. Ayanakwija.
The voice of reason from the people. Okay, artificial method or cosmetic method. Or bring the takoya from the tapuji, every basic in so. Even better, this is what you can call, even in Nigeria, na the fuel subsidy removal, floating of the naira, almost pepper, So, what China will be inflation. So, I'm going to reverse the gear back. Biakwa, maybe suggestions I know. I'm going to na again, if a teacher, I may reprieve from a tourist dinner. Keep and take back your country. Yeah, by part of Tony. Gawa Amakao, Manam. If etundi political leaders saying, si men in Nigeria na on a week. If a megastine na 2023 election, megastine. Gostina, if I drama na chikota yo basala election na. One on them as a public affairs analyst. Ma uchem akambo na ọ dịrọ mma na soso ofu onye ga na-ewepụta onye bụ chairman of INEC na ndị ọrụ ya like REC, Resident Electoral Commissioners, yes. Ka ife nji ekwurie bụ na there's tendency na onye itinye n'ọrụ ga na-ege gị ntị. So eji asị na he who pays the piper the takes the tune. So mgbe na suggest na ọ bụ na Nigerians na ga-eme the National Assembly ga-eme the chairman ọ bụ na his tenure ezubeghị. Tenure ezue, let it not be appointed by the president of the country. Let it be thrown open to Nigerians well interest to be the chairman and the REC. A constitute a committee that will interview. It is a J. Cholo. All Nigerians can abia, you know, not Mr. President. So, abia, ndani na Cholo yellow without their CVs application. The committee set up will interview them. I may say they will sieve out from even in a web the well and then the commission. You will now see that now. I am answerable to the Nigerians, not to the president. So that is one way we can take back our country. But now, if the status quo is maintained, I can assure you that now, if I got even in 2027.
Even though this shouldn't be our top priorities now, Manastoria, on director foreign airlines to patronize Nigerian caterers for onboard meals. I think it's the right step in the right direction because most of the people, Jegolo Mbofisi, Nada complain about Odinian and I mean, these are Nigerians leaving their country to other countries. People type Bulu meals on follow every on social media, you see a lot of people complaining about the food.
The food.
They go to where like FPC video London outside the country. This one is correct Nigerian food. I'm not saying that it is totally wrong to serve our intercontinental dishes, but owing to the fact that some of the people who see this country apple for Nigerians, I think they paid for this. So you should once in a while do something. And again, patronizing Nigerian caterers will somehow empower.
You are right. You are right. You are very, very correct. I'll give you an example. Like my friend AJ, JP. Yeah, JP, Jerusalem Pilgrim. I've been opportuned by the grace of God to travel to Israel and other holy sites for about 4 times. Now, on Agabia, Mogunde, Ocha, like you're saying, but before Agacha Tony Nangwa, before we depart to Nigeria, and 2 or 3 times. Egesi so ni Nigeria abia ofonye esie ni ndi Igbo ofonye esie nke ndi Ugwu ofonye esie nke ndi Yoruba because of now a mixture of these tribes. Yeah. So ibia irienya that is that particular new that day lo na ba onwe ko le yara mara it also ndi ya pepe iva na. So I support the idea of the call by the Kayamo. The foreign airlines, please take it as and put it in their menu. Nigeria can feel of their own delicacies. Yellow the caterers empowering them, even giving them money, on a capital flight and all that. So I support the idea.
Na akụkọ akwụkwọ ọzọ anyị nwere n'ụtụtụ anụnwa ka anyị folo ihe dị na iru akwụkwọ anyị dịgasị iche iche. Nke ọzọ anyị ga-enebanye anya bụ This Day newspaper.
Anyị pụrụkwa maka edemma this Libya Nigeria.
Okay.
Okay.
Na This Day newspaper. Akpụlụkpọ okwu Budiniro these days. CJN laments number of pending cases, threatens sack of non-performing judges. World Bank ending extreme poverty by 2030 no longer possible. After momentary relief, inflation hits 32.70% amid higher food and energy prices. CPPE situation exacerbated by surging petrol price calls for urgent government intervention. And PDP governors choose the highway, order feuding members to revert to status quo. Lagos Red Line Rail commences operation. I got the picture of the Lagos State Governor Nira Hukwa did stay newspaper no total. Shell's $1.3 billion all assets sale, not in waiting room, as federal government rejects Renaissance bid. Okay, and then NUPRC says 200 billion naira disbursed to HCDTs, clarifies alleged delayed funding in Akwa Ibom. Kaifo Ihedina Aka podcast on the table at the Guardian newspaper. World Food Day, inflation weary Nigerians begging, borrowing for survival. That you can see at page 6 of Guardian newspaper no Totwa. And then your policies punishing Nigerians, professional bodies tell Tinubu. Abbas flays a 10,000 naira monthly upkeep for pensioners. Anambra for Ebana Commission red line in the Lagos State. A power minister denies multiple grid collapses, blames minor trip-offs. Okay? Nigeria orders may need 100 years to end extreme poverty, says World Bank. 100 years. Court sentences teenager to 5 years imprisonment for sexual assault. And then I have the Guardian, by the conservative estimate of the rational average cost of a healthy diet of 1,255. Okay, Hajaka, however, estimate in the Guardian newspaper. A healthy meal now costs nothing less than 1,255 naira as of August. And now a family of 4 will require about 150,000 naira a month to have a meal, just a meal daily. Just a meal daily. So we have about 50% of fresh agricultural produce in Nigeria that is last.
It's lost.
Okay, it's lost actually during the post-harvest stage.
Okay.
So I have to get BNMI. It's not just about the high prices of petrol and all that, or the fluctuating. Our naira in the market. We're talking about near
that is waste.
Yes, waste. And about 1.6 million hectares of land have been inundated by flood, climate-induced issues, and insecurity.
Wow.
Low-income families unable to afford basic foods.
Okay.
That's the truth. Then quickly, let's see the Daily Trust. Daily Trust, the PDP crisis. The Macron may step down next week. Aggrieved members told to withdraw court cases. Governor asks factional leader to vacate office, lift suspension. NMPP group seeks Governor Yusuf's independence from Kwankwaso. Dangote Ipman meeting fails to hold. Passengers stranded as airlines caught domestic flights. Naira plunges to 1,700 naira per dollar at parallel market. Cholera kills 45 in Kano. Petrol price hikes push inflation to 32.7%. Power grid collapses twice in 24 hours as restoration efforts fail. Where's the the same story?
Yes, fine.
Stories of
Woes.
The one that is very, very touchy, and you understand, is this 100 years to end extreme poverty in Nigeria coming from World Bank. Now, World Bank or the advisory role kahano, because just onweka obodo obuna sibia no see and I need the ego. Assign or ego without even checking the perimeters. Maluma, do these countries have what it takes? Because to me, this is an insult to a country in the magnitude, in the status of Nigeria, telling us that is World Bank iguaing that it will take 100 years for extreme poverty, not poverty, extreme poverty to end in Nigeria. it will take 100. That is since the beginning of democracy, I think this should be an insult on every person that has contested, won any political office in this country, sincerely speaking. This is a big insult. It's just like Madu Iputakita Sigi Giwabu JP with Ienini Gachagu Obodo Igbo. You can't take care of your immediate family. The responsibility you brought into this world. Yeah. So why do we have, exactly. So why would we have leaders that will sit on the wealth of this nation, commonwealth of this nation? From the length and breadth of this nation, we have abundant resources, both human and natural. And then the World Bank will now tell us that it will take 100 years. That's to tell you that since the beginning of democracy, we've had leaders that have mismanaged our resources. So it will take 100 years. Are they accusing Nkegaraga?
So, Sir Jerry, what's your thought on that?
Well, it's
my
very,
thought
very,
is that we are independent, but dependent. We are independent but dependent. You know, we are, I see from colonialism, but near colonialism. So those World Bank here, they are colonizing this Nigeria and their leaders. You know, wanted to Baje London, Baje Chattanham. What does this tell you? They are dependent on these people, even though that, you know, Nigeria is independent. You know, so that if World Bank they float shows that they are dependent on. What does it mean that Namrozi in Nigeria they're capable of managing their resources, both human and natural? That's why it is an insult. Without the educational qualification, Harvard, you cannot even manage yourself. It's dependent on IMF, it's dependent on World Bank, budget for loan. That means you are dependent on them. And you're a borrower and a storer. He who goes a borrowing goes a storing. Even for only Jew, Israel, post. You know, if you degasi, Makande black, in Africa. Na only Jew, interest to produce in Israel, sell in Israel, they buy their product, they do better. But only black man, only Africa will not produce in his country, imports, can the European and America now consume. That is consumption prone, like Peter B would like to say. Now, only Jew, Israel, egoni na pota, on a weta, na bana bandi befa, na emife na befa. It grows the economy. But only a black man, or black African, exports the money and the loot to Bendocha. Na bank here there. With the intention they may say bana bangwa, they build. Meanwhile, ego yeji dozi befa o. Ndoche wezeli na nyekwa as loan. Ego in a half the president in our budget. Oh, loan, most of them they go looted money. They chana bendocha. You know, so you can see that the analogy of onye Jew. If you na a buy no eteka. When they got sorry, they go in Nigeria. No, it takes 100 years extreme poverty to come out from extreme poverty. So, Abu independent but dependent. Yeah. Ona masim, you know, unu simbia no yelu, you know, kai we kem ikọwatụrụ ndị be anyị etu ife si gbatapụrụ daalụ.
madalo nri na ndị niile sonyela na anya bụ ihe mmemme n'ụtụtụ a anyị ga-agbata obele dim mana anyị chinyata ọ ka nwekwa ihe ọzọ anyị n'oge eji wee nọkọ